no skill cap, because there's always more upgrades that you can do. You can always level up more, or you can do different quest lines that give you skill points.
Yeah. And of course the sky shards.
Yeah, and the sky shards. I found all the sky shards in the one area for the Thieves Guild questing. There's only 6 of them, but I'm like, holy crap, this in its own right is fun, just going through and doing all that stuff. So I'm a big fan, man.
He's a big fan, everybody. We're live, by the way. Hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
See a bunch of people here before even I was here. That's right, it's on. Hey, there's Sam. Hopefully you got your question answered about RAM there, Sam.
Question of RAM, Sam. I am.
There you go. FPG Gaming, is it true that Apex Legends is coming to Stadia? Oh gosh, you know what? I didn't even put that in the show notes. Make sure that we talk about that weird little hiccup. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, okay. So some website whose name I can't remember, they posted that Apex was also coming to Stadia, and then they were asked about it, and they say, well, we're not sure. That's just what they told us before the briefing. And then during the briefing, they didn't mention it, so they took it back down. But they were told before the EA whatever thing that it was coming to Stadia. So I'm not sure if they're waiting for the Connect, or maybe if somebody just misspoke. I can't remember what website it was.
Interesting. I have no doubt that free-to-play games are coming. It's just Google needs to get in a place where they have all their stuff running 100% before they start doing that stuff.
Well, what stuff do you feel like is not running 100% right now?
I don't think anything's not running 100%, but they got to make sure that like their user interface is up to par, their voice chats, their parties, because the one thing you want to do is jump into Fortnite and you might not want to do squad communications, you want to do party communications, or you might want to organize better. So I think there's just a little bit of rough edges that they need to just sand down a little bit. Everything is there, but it's not where it should be for something that you're gonna expect millions of people to come in and start playing right away.
Gotcha.
Are you gonna be hitting record in a couple minutes? Do I have like a minute?
Yeah, you can go do things. What's up,
okay,
man?
I'll be right back.
He's got to go do things, everybody.
Fresh my coffee.
So while he's gone, I'll bring up this screen. That way you guys can see my giant face. I think it was New York Times Tech that reported Apex was coming to Stadia and then redacted. I can't remember what it was. It was like a big publication, and it wasn't a generally like a gaming publication. It was something else. I can't remember though. Hey there, Smash. Smash is getting a coffee refill too, just like Lloyd. I am getting my water. That's right. Let's get a like spike for Bill's giant face. Kodiak Moonwolf says, I don't think Fortnite will come to Stadia anytime soon. Epic fought against the app payment for the Google Store, didn't they? Yeah, but, you know, depends. If it means that more people can play their game that could not previously play their game, then that might change things up for them.
He is back with a fresh cup of coffee.
There you go. Fresh cup of Joe.
It was a very late night last night.
Yeah.
And it was a very early morning this morning. So I'm having a cat in the house. This cat likes to wake people up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock to eat. Thankfully, I sleep like the dead, so I don't hear it, but Kara gets up and then goes and feeds the cat or whatever. But I guess I stir a little bit because on weekends and things, I'm a little more tired than I normally would be.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I get up super early every day.
I know. I'm a night owl though. Like I can't get up early, but I could stay up till 3 a.m. Like I've always been a night owl. So this early morning stuff on the weekends is just, it's rough for me.
I would like to say when you get to be my age, that will change, but we all know that you're older than I am, so
Yeah, a couple months. The couple months makes a huge difference.
I guess maybe things will change for me. All right, are you ready to make a MP3?
I am. I was born ready to make an MP3.
Here we go, everybody. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody, to Stadiacast. It is the place for all of the Stadia news that you need to know. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much, man. Happy Father's Day, Bill.
Happy Father's Day to you, too. My wife asked me yesterday, she goes, are you and Lloyd still doing your stuff tomorrow? And I go, well, why wouldn't we? And she goes, well, it's Father's Day. And I go, well, yeah, but, we're not doing anything, and he's in Canada. And she goes, well, when do they celebrate it in Canada? And I had to ask the Google, and the Google said that it was tomorrow. And I was like, well, if he doesn't show up, then I'll just do it on my own. But I just assumed that you guys had a different Father's Day because you have a different Thanksgiving, and you have your weird made-up holidays like Boxing Day and stuff like that.
No, it is the exact same day. And this isn't, I don't need to take a break from podcasting because it's one of my passions and one of my hobbies. So it makes perfect sense that on Father's Day, I'd be sitting here podcasting.
So you said that you had a shirt there that you were talking about. So before we get to the Stadia news, which I promise we'll get there soon, Lloyd, why don't you tell us about your stuff?
So I had to open my Father's Day present yesterday for reasons, which I didn't know until I opened it, and I was like, it makes total sense. So my wife and kids got me a couple Winnipeg Blue Bomber t-shirts because they won the championship for the CFL. So they have a bunch of championship merch, and I've been looking at a couple of their shirts, and I got two really awesome shirts, which I love so much. But in the bag, like it was one of those like gift bags, like the ones that are about 2 feet tall, but like only like 5 inches wide. So you put like board games or something inside of there. It was laying sideways on my lap, and Kara's like, you can't look inside. You just have to put your hand in there and grab out the small things. So I went and pulled out the 2 shirts, and that was great. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to pull this other thing out. You have to close your eyes, and I'll put it in your hands, and then you can open your eyes. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I closed my eyes, put my arms out like this, waiting.
Bag of scorpions.
She put something on my arms. She's like, okay, you can open your eyes. And I look at it, and it's a bouquet, but it's not a bouquet of flowers. It's called a brocade. It's actually a bunch of skewers with meat on it. So there was sausage links, like pepperoni, there was beef jerky, there was like gourmet mustard, there was cheeses, there was all this stuff. She got me a brocade, which I didn't even know was a thing, and everybody in the house was laughing, falling off their chairs because they thought it was hilarious. So I have a bunch of smoked and cured meats to eat on Father's Day, which makes me a very, very happy man. So I got a bouquet, but it was a bouquet of meat.
That sounds really delicious, actually.
Yeah,
bouquet of meat is not anything that anybody should ever say ever again in history. I'm okay with brocade, but bouquet of meat sounds not good.
Bouquet of Meat, that's actually the name of my Led Zeppelin cover band. We call ourselves Bouquet of Meat. It's great.
Yeah. All right. Before we actually get to the Stadia news, which I promise we'll get to momentarily, we do record this show live. If you are not watching over on our YouTube channel, every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern, you can head on over to youtube.com/StadiaCast and watch the show live. with us. And we do a little pre-show stuff, we do a little post-show stuff, and it's a good time had by all. By the way, speaking of YouTube, if you are watching this on YouTube and you haven't already, click on that like button if you like the show. Click on the subscribe button if you want to see more, and click on the bell if you want to get notified each and every time that we do something. If you want to directly support Stadiacast and you are here with us live, you can use the super chat feature. It supports us and makes sure that we see your message. We respond to each and every super chat in the second half of the show. And you can also become a member of our channel. We are over 100 members so far, which is absolutely crazy. Thank you guys for becoming members. We just had Jay Chussell became a supporter. Sam Dillage became a supporter. So thank you very much if you are a supporter. We do have some videos that are just for supporters, like a temporary, where you get to watch them and nobody else gets to watch them until later on. In fact, I've got the Elder Scrolls Online best visual quality. So if you don't have access to a Chromecast, or you want to see what that looks like on a Chromecast, then you can watch that video, and as well as some other like crafting stuff for Elder Scrolls Online as well. So check out that join button right down below the video. All right, we said all that stuff. Let's talk about video games. Let's start with what we've been playing this week. Lloyd is hooked. Lloyd, why don't you tell people what you've been playing?
So I've been playing a lot of ESO. There's other games I've been playing. Some of them I can't mention anything yet, so we'll just skip over those. But besides that, I've been playing so much ESO. Elder Scrolls Online has been the game I didn't know I wanted, the game I didn't know I needed, but it's the game that I've been playing a lot of. So much, in fact, that I was off work on Friday. I did a 3-hour stream. That was like a quarter of what I played that day, even though I streamed for 3 hours. Yesterday, I played a bunch. And when we were talking before, when I was waiting for Bill to start the call, I just jumped into ESO and I was doing some crafting and deconstruction and things like that. And he's like, "Oh, you've been playing a lot." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I do a /played and I'm like, "Oh, yes, I have." So on my character, which I just started on Wednesday when the game came out, I'm level 20. So I'm a level 20 warden. And I've /played for 1 day and 8 hours. The game has been out for 5 days.
Holy cow.
1/5 of that time has been me spending time in ESO.
Wow.
I'm addicted.
And do you think that's because you can easily do it on any screen? Like when you're, I don't know if your boss is watching the show or not, but when you're at work, are you opening up the old Stadia and maybe doing some crafting writs?
No, thankfully not. I don't have an office right now, so there's really no way for me to do that. Even if I was going to do that, which isn't something that I would do except if I'm on breaks, which I do sometimes play games when I'm on lunch or whatever. But yeah, like if I had it on my phone, like if I'm walking to a meeting or whatever, I could pop in and do some crafting and then pop out. So this is going to make it really attractive and really easy to get in and play this game. But so I'm jumping into Greymoor, which is the Skyrim content. I did a bunch of the actual main quests as part of Skyrim. Loving everything about that zone. It just reminds me of my first steps into Skyrim, which has been really great. And then I was like, you know what? I want to do some other things. So I went in and I jumped into the Thieves Guild's quest line, and I've done about half of that content in the little mini zone for the Thieves quest stuff. And just loving it. To me, the best thing about ESO is you're not limited in what you do. So you don't pick an archer and you just have archery stuff that you can do, and you're just doing archery. And if you want to do some magic, it's like, too bad, you're an archer. You got to sit down, shut up, and fire those arrows. In ESO, like there's no end to the number of skill points you can get. So if you want to level every skill up to 100 and unlock everything, if you spend enough time with your character, you probably could do that. So if you want to do crafting, unlike WoW, unlike a bunch of other MMOs where it's like you can pick one or you can pick two. So you can be either like leatherworking and tailoring, or alchemy and whatever, herbalism. That there's no limit in ESO, so you can pick up all the trade crafts. You can level them up slowly as you're making your way through the game. You can take the Thieves Guild quest line and get a bunch of skills that really aren't huge, but they're cool if that's the character that you play. But then you can jump into like I'm thinking of the Assassin's Guild. I'm blanking on the name right now.
Dark Brotherhood.
Dark Brotherhood. You can jump into the Dark Brotherhood quests, or you can say, well, I want to jump to Morrowind for a couple quests, or no, I want to go to Elsewhere and I'm going to jump over there and do a couple quests. It's just amazing. And coming into this game like 4 years after I last played it, the game itself feels like a whole new game. So it was clunky and grindy when I played it on PlayStation 4, and it seems like most of that is gone. The fact that I was taking on a world boss. There happened to be a couple people that rushed this world boss, and I just jumped in as a level 20 character. And I'm looking at the nameplates above these people, and they're like sun. They have like this sun logo, and it's like 500. So they've leveled up like 500 times, and I've leveled up 20. And I'm fighting the same boss as them because there's no level limit. Everything scales to the appropriate level that you are. It's just been it's been amazing. And on Stadia, playing it on the Chromecast, it looks and plays fantastic. It's only 30 frames a second, but it doesn't feel 30 frames a second on Chromecast for some reason. When I played on the PC, it's a little bit more jerky when I'm moving around and things like that. So they did a fantastic job with this port. I know there's some bugs and things, which I'm sure will be ironed out, but man, I am very, very excited about the future of Stadia for just for people that play MMOs, being able to access your same characters, your same setup, your same everything on your TV, your laptop, your Chromebook, your phone, your whatever. That is pretty attractive for someone that used to play a lot of MMOs. And if I ever went to a friend's house and wanted to log into my character, all my settings were blown away. But now I could just essentially log into my Stadia account and boom, I have all my stuff there. So pretty awesome, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving a lot of ESO, but I'll stop gushing. What have you been playing, Bill?
Well, I've been playing ESO as well, and that's pretty much it. That's the only game I've been playing. And you know what I'm really excited about, and it was like the first night, or maybe the second night that the game was out, where I got to feel the benefits of playing it on Stadia, and that was that I could play it on other screens in the house. So recently I hurt my back pretty bad, and sitting in this office for an extended length of time actually starts to get real painful. So I grabbed my phone. I was sitting here and I was playing it, and I was enjoying myself, but my back, I kept setting the controller down and trying to turn my back and trying to stretch things out. And I was like, what is going on? And finally I said, you idiot, just go downstairs and sit in the recliner. So I grabbed my phone, I turned off my controller, and my screen said, turn on your controller, idiot. And I grabbed my phone and I went downstairs and I said, play it on the living room TV. And I grabbed my son's controller and turned it on, and I didn't even have to log off. I went right back into the game and was playing. And then later that night, my wife was in our bedroom reading, and I was sitting in here playing a game. And I said, if I come in here and play a game, is it going to distract you from your book? And she said, no, come on in. So I came in and I sat down. I put it on the TV in the bedroom, and I was going through and doing quests. I was actually doing crafting writs, and I'm wandering all over Eastern, which Skyrim is it?
Western Skyrim.
I'm wandering all over Western Skyrim, searching for this stupid flower for my crafting writ that I couldn't find. But I was just wandering around doing that, and she's sitting next to me reading a book, and it was awesome because I can now play it on any screen in the house instead of being chained to this room if I want to play that game. And that is really, really awesome. I'm very, very happy with it. Anything that you want to add before we move on?
Just the fact that ESO is cross-play with PC and your account is cross-play with PC. There's a lot of people that are wanting to get on like crown sales when they have them, and I've read in the past where they'll have a crown sale, which is the premium currency, and it's fairly expensive. But every quarter maybe they'll do a sale where they discount it by X number of percentage, but that's not come to the consoles a few times. Sometimes there's only been PC only crown sales at specific times. We're not going to have that issue on Stadia, because you can go to the PC store, you go to the elderscrollsonline.com, you log in with your Stadia account, you click buy, you click PC, Mac, and Stadia, and you can purchase anything off that website, and it immediately shows up on your Stadia account. So in the future, buying DLC, buying premium currency, even signing up for Elder Scrolls Plus for a year, you can do that right on the website, and it'll come across to your Stadia account. So we're not limited by the number of people on the Stadia. So for me, for example, taking on that world boss, I just happened upon 5 people that were already fighting it, and I just jumped in and plinked it with a couple arrows and died, of course, but respawned and did all this stuff, and I beat a boss without having to find a group, without having to do anything, without having to really look, because the world itself is so populated. I think PC Stadia crossplay is something that really needs to keep happening in every game, because it really is good for the audience that wants to jump in and play this game.
I think that I'm going to say 100%. Well, no, I'm going to say 98% that I agree with you. 2% is depends on the type of game, because if it's a first-person shooter, I don't want to be in the same pool with people if I'm using a controller and they're using mouse and keyboard. I feel like that would be bad. However, if that game does smart things like Fortnite, where it detects your input and says, okay, let's put all of the people over here who are on controller, all the people who are over here with mouse and keyboard, then I'm with you 100%. All right.
Nice.
Before we move on from Elder Scrolls Online, I just want to let everybody know, if you go to runjumpstomp.com, there is a link in the show notes that will take you to information about how to get a pet, a dwarven spiderling pet in the game. All you have to do is verify your email address and opt in for marketing emails. And there's a bunch of information there about how you can get that. And it's just like a little non-combat pet that follows you around and looks cool. All right. Are you ready to get into the news for this week?
Oh, this isn't an ESO podcast? Oh, we have Stadia news? Okay, let's do it then.
It feels like it, because I put out a bunch of Stadia or ESO videos this week, but that's just like one part of what's going on this channel. But yeah, we've got Stadia Connect coming up on the 14th. So of course, Patrice Derry just sent in a super chat. They said, what are your predictions for this Stadia Connect? Lloyd, I'm going to let you go first. What are your predictions?
I think there's going to be logos flying by someone's head. They're going to talk about games, and all the games they talk about will be playable on Stadia.
I think that is safe to say.
Very safe predictions.
Yeah.
Just joking. I think we're going to get some stealth drops, like maybe something like Orcs Must Die, something that we've known is coming for a while. Doom 2016. We'll probably get some stealth drops while it's happening. It's like available now. Boom. No downloads, no updates. You can play while you're watching this event. Something similar to that, just to show kind of the power of Stadia, where you click purchase on a game and you're playing it within 30 seconds, or you're clicking a link on YouTube and you're playing a game if you have a Stadia account within 30 seconds. I also think that this would be a really great time for Stadia to show off demos. So show a bunch of different games that have demos that are available instantly after the event. So you can see a really cool demo of whatever brand new game was announced, and you can jump in and play 30 minutes of Cyberpunk, or I don't know, whatever Call of Duty, whatever is the big game that happens to come to Stadia. I think that would be a really great way for them to kind of roll that feature out as well.
As far as games, I know that there are people who are wondering, is Apex coming to Stadia? Because there was a publication, I think it was New York Times, or Washington Post,
New York Times,
something like that.
Yeah.
Not like a gaming publication, but they were covering the EA press event, and somebody at EA had told them that Apex Legends was coming to all of these platforms, and they listed all of the platforms, including Nintendo Switch and Google Stadia. It wasn't like they said Stadia instead of Switch. They said Stadia and Switch.
Right.
And then they did the EA Play event, and they didn't mention Stadia. So people asked them, and they said, well, they told us before the press event that it was going to be on Google Stadia. So I know that there's a lot of people who are thinking it is coming to Google Stadia. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Respawn has been pretty adamant that they don't think that it would work well with the increased latency. However, having played the hell out of Doom, which is 60 frames per second, runs like absolute butter, I can't imagine there being an issue with that particular game, especially as it's a game that I've played a lot of on my PS4.
Yeah.
I also think that I'm hoping that we hear something about, like, Apex is a free-to-play game, so I'm also hoping to hear about other free-to-play games like Smite, which are on every single platform. I think it makes a lot of sense to bring a MOBA to Google Stadia, because there's a lot of people who want to play these games and they don't have the hardware for it. And that is a big pool of potential customers for these people. Now, we always run into the discussion, is free-to-play going to be available for non-pro members? Maybe, maybe not. I know that the vast majority of people who are who are free-to-play players don't spend any money on those games at all. And that means that there's a bunch of people who are using Stadia servers who are not giving Google any money at all. So I think that the best move for Google Stadia is to lock the free-to-play stuff behind the paywall of having a pro subscription. But if Google isn't having any issues with queues, then maybe not. I don't know. There's only one way to find out, and that's to actually do it. Go ahead.
I think a great move would be for them to say, you can play Fortnite, you can play Call of Duty Warzone for free on Google Stadia if you're a pro member. If you're not a pro member, you need to buy this starter pack, and it's like a $5 or $10 thing that gets you a Stadia specific costume. So most people are going to want it anyway. And then boom, once you've done that, you can play it for free. So at least Google Stadia gets a little bit or Google gets a little tiny chunk of money to pay for the server time that is going to be used by all these people playing it for free. I think that's a fair way to do it, since Google's providing all of the hardware for a game that costs you nothing. Like there's some actual costs there for Google, and they're going to want something back. But maybe they've run the numbers and they've seen that, okay, there's this 10% of people that are buying premium currency on Fortnite, so that will cover us for all the 90% that aren't buying it. So who knows? I would love to play Warzone. I'd love to play Fortnite. I'd love to play Apex. I'd love to play all these free-to-play games, which I play on my Switch right now. Well, Call of Duty I don't play on my Switch, but Fortnite I play on my Switch, and I know my son plays Apex and all the other ones on the PlayStation 4. I would love to just start playing that stuff right on Stadia and not have to worry about upgrading my PC, downloading patches, doing all that junk. I just want to jump in and game, essentially.
You know what? So EA also announced that they are like going all in on crossplay, which is awesome. I applaud them for doing that. It's we're starting to chip away at the old walls that were around each thing. So I love that EA is doing that. And immediately in our Discord, somebody messaged me and they said, "Hey Bill, I know that you play Apex Legends on PS4 and I've been playing on Xbox. It would be awesome if we could play together." And I said, that would be awesome, except that I have not touched my PS4 in a very long time. And so I would have to patch Apex, and I can't be bothered to patch Apex because those patches are huge. They're absolutely huge. No mention of the other games that are coming from EA. Do you think that we'll hear about any other EA games at this Stadia Connect on the 14th?
I hope so. I really hope so. We already know that we're getting some of the sports games, sports ball stuff, as you would say. I was really hoping that we'd get note that the Star Wars game, the Star Wars Squadrons, would be coming to Stadia. It doesn't look like that's in the cards, unfortunately. That would have been a fun one to jump in. I'm probably going to have to end up playing it on my PC and buying some sort of PC VR helmet to properly play that game because I want to experience it in VR. Which Stadia can't do, but since it's not coming to Stadia, that might be the place that I jump in and play that. So yeah, I don't know if any of the other games will be coming. I would assume that some of them would. It really seems like Stadia is setting themselves up to be the competitor to the next gen. It's like you don't have to buy a $600 console, put it on your TV. You can play this game that is on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Same resolution, same whatever, without that purchase. I think that's going to be the focus into the fall and winter when the new consoles start launching.
And if you want Lloyd and I, well, maybe Lloyd, probably me, to do a live stream of the Stadia Connect on the 14th, which is a Tuesday. I know Lloyd will probably be at work.
Yep.
If you want that, make sure you hit the like button and leave a comment down below, and maybe I can make it happen. I can't promise, though, because I don't know what my schedule looks like. All right, let's move on. The ESRB, the Electronic Software Ratings Board. Do you guys, what do you guys use in Canada?
ESRB.
Okay. All right, so the ESRB finally has a way to search for games on Stadia. This is not super important for consumers, but for content creators, it's pretty useful because we can go to the esrb.org and we can search and we can say, just show me all of the Stadia games, and we can scroll through and see if there's anything new. So I just wanted to share that with people because I know that the people who are here are really into Stadia, and I'm sure that most likely you guys will figure this stuff out before I even do, because you guys are so into finding out all of the new news. All right, let's talk about the Premier Edition. You have the Founders Edition.
I do.
I also have the Founders Edition, and we have in my house a Premier Edition. The Premier Edition recently got a discount. I talked about this earlier in the week on a video, and that is down to $99. Lloyd, what do you think about that? That's pretty insane.
I think that's a really good price. Like, they have to caveat it with, you don't need to buy this to play Stadia. You can get Stadia on your PC with no extra charge, blah, blah, blah. Like, do something like that. The Premier Edition is $140 up here in Canada still, because of our really horrible Canadian dollar. So if it was $99 up here, I would jump on that in an instant to get more Chromecast Ultras and more controllers in my house. But yeah, I think it's a really great price. It was funny in the press release, they said the reason why it's cheaper is we used to give you 3 months of Pro at $10 a month. We're not doing that because everybody gets 1 month for free. So we're going to knock $30 off the price. It was kind of a weird, like, this is why we're doing this. It's like, well, charge $100 for it and give people 3 months free. Like, give them a bonus for buying this and getting 2 pieces of Google hardware in their house.
I agree with that, except that it's $140 worth of stuff for $99. I think it's a really good deal. Like, a Chromecast Ultra is an I don't want to say expensive, but it costs $70 for a Chromecast Ultra.
Yep.
I think the reason that they lowered the price on this is twofold. One, they want to get this controller, not this controller because this one's blue, but they want to get this controller in the hands of as many people as they possibly can because it is the best way to play. It offers the lowest amount of latency, and it's a really, really good controller. And then the second thing is there's rumors that we have that, I don't know, Project Katrina. It's like it's a woman's name, and I can't remember what the woman's name is. I'm sure somebody in chat will remember for me. But it's like Project whatever, and it's basically the next generation of Chromecast that comes with a remote. And so I feel like they're just trying to get rid of these things as fast as they can. Sabrina, thank you very much, Random Noob. I knew somebody in chat would remember. Yeah, Project Sabrina, where it's got a remote. And I think that right there, I don't know if we've talked about this on the show before, but that right there is absolutely huge. That the new Chromecast comes with a remote control. That means that has its own its own real UI, and they can put Stadia right there in the UI, and they can even make it so you're going through and boom, there's Stadia. You can hit a button, you can look at the games that are on there, and you can say play these for free on your computer, or if you want to play them on your TV, buy a Stadia controller, and you can hit a button and buy it, and it ships directly to you. I think that would be fantastic. But I think $99 for the Premier Edition is a really, really good deal, because the Chromecast Ultra is awesome. We use it in our house all the time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've never really liked the Chromecast because I love my TV attached devices to have a user interface to switch between things, and having to use your phone to access all that stuff to me is just an extra step that I don't want to do. So having a new Chromecast that is going to have an interface is going to be great. And just like you said, having a Stadia icon there, having the same store that we have on the PC, like the same interface, the same everything would be amazing. And then it's like, oh my God, Cyberpunk 2077, my kids were just talking about that. And then you go click it and it's like, oh, you can play this right on your TV right now if you have a Stadia controller. If you don't, click buy now, we'll charge your Google account for $79 and ship it right to your door. You'll get it in 3 days. And they could use that as just a way to capture people and get that stuff to them, to their doorstep pretty quick. Very much what Amazon does. If you buy an Amazon streaming Fire Stick, there's a bunch of stuff that's just like, hey, do you want to buy this? We'll send it right to you. And since they have your credit card and they have all this other stuff, they can do that. Google having an actual set-top box that has Stadia built in would be huge, and it would get people buying stuff. And it would be even cool if this device says, if you want, you can pair your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One controller to it. It's going to be, if there's going to be more latency, it is not the preferred way, but we're going to allow you to do that because Google is open. And allowing people to do that means it's just like the Apple TV that you have in your living room right now. They patched it to allow you to connect a PlayStation 4 or Xbox controller to play the Apple Arcade games. If Google allowed you to do the same thing, it's a really affordable set-top box with many different options to allow you to play your games. So they could do it so many different ways, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that.
You know, and the fact that it has a remote control, there's no way it uses IR for the remote. It's going to be a Bluetooth, so that means that it has Bluetooth and works with Bluetooth, so that solves that problem. And I think that there's a far more people who are like you who want to have a remote in their hand than there are people like me. And I, like, even in my house, my wife does not like using the Chromecast, but we use it when we're both in the same room, because I can just say, hey, keyword, play this on the TV, and then it starts up. And that means I'm not using anything. I'm not touching my phone or anything like that. I just talk to, because we have Google Homes throughout the house, so it works really, really well. If you don't have that, then I can't recommend the Chromecast for you. And using a video game controller as your UI for going through stuff, like, that's not something that people want to do either. Oh my God, Lloyd, you are not going to believe this. Thank you. Look at this. My wife just handed me this.
Corner gas mug. I love it.
Oh my God. Thank you. This is my Father's Day present. Oh, I love it.
Fantastic.
If you people watching this show are not from Canada or from near Canada, then you have never heard of one of the greatest comedy shows of all time. It's a great sitcom. It's called Corner Gas. It's awesome, and my wife is
family
awesome.
friendly.
Thank you. And family friendly. Yes,
which is great.
All right, so my wife just brought me a cup of tea and a Corner Gas mug. That's awesome. All right, let's move on, but before we do, let's take a quick break. Stick around, everybody. I have to add the break in manually afterwards. I forgot to add all that stuff in.
I was like, I'm not hearing anything. But
Yeah,
okay.
that's because I screwed up. All right.
I got it.
Here we go. All right, we are back, and Cyberpunk has been delayed to all platforms. It's kind of weird that, like, they have that press release, and then, I mean, how much time between that press release coming out and then they delay the game? How much time do you think that was?
It was like 3 weeks or something, wasn't it? It wasn't a very long time. It's I don't know, maybe that press release was something from a while ago that somehow saw the light of day again. The fact that Cyberpunk is in reviewers' hands right now, but it's not coming out for multiple months for something you can buy in the store. Although you can go to the store right now and buy a Cyberpunk styled Xbox One X that looks like Cyberpunk 2077 and it comes with a cool controller, but the game is not coming out to November. Really, really weird. But again, we do Nintendo podcasts. As Miyamoto said, a rushed game is bad forever. Delayed game is eventually good. That's not his quote, but that's just paraphrasing his quote. I'd rather have this game delayed another year if possible to make it the best game that they could possibly make. So a couple month delay is really nothing for me.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. I am in no rush to play it. I have so many games to play right now that adding Cyberpunk 2077 to the pile of games for me to play, I don't have time for that. I just don't right now. And so I'm happy that it's coming in November. And, you know, maybe that's... okay. I'm not happy that it's delayed, but it doesn't bother me that it's delayed. Because guess what? I don't want it to be delayed for the other people who are like, I don't have anything to play right now. I've been looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077 for years. I want to play it right now. And I understand that disappointment that a lot of people are feeling. And to those people, I say, they're not delaying the game to spite you. They're delaying the game so that you have a better experience later. Now, do you think, Lloyd, that we are now day and date with the other platforms? Because I'm pretty sure that we're still not.
I definitely 100% don't think that the game was delayed so that it could be day and date if that was the reason for the delay. Google didn't give CD Projekt Red $1 million to delay all the other versions to come out at the same time as Stadia. So that that like tinfoil hat theory that's going around Reddit is not. I don't know. I don't know anybody at CD Projekt Red, but if I had to bet money, that is not what had happened. What I do hope is that they were hoping to get the Stadia version running at the same graphical fidelity as the next gen console versions, PS5 and Xbox Series X. And maybe we know that there's version 2 blades. We don't know anything else about it, whether it's coming soon, coming next year, we don't know. But maybe November is when those blades are going to be available in enough parts of the country to be usable for games like this. So maybe there's multiple reasons for the delay. They want the next gen version to be launching day and date. I still think that the Stadia version will be coming multiple months after November 19th. I don't think this was a delay to make it come out at the same time as Stadia. But if they wanted next gen for Stadia, like Series 2 blades, and they wanted the next gen games to all launch at the same time, maybe that's going to be a nice side benefit of this delay.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it'll be months after. I think it's going to still be by the end of the year, mostly because how do I phrase this? The delays, I'm assuming, are very, very tied to COVID-19 and people not being able to go into places and do things. And that makes it harder when you are developing on dev kits. That particular issue does not exist with Stadia. In fact, there's an interview that we'll talk about in a little bit from a developer who was talking to Stadia. It was a very fluffy piece, but it was basically why are you excited about developing on Stadia? And the developer said, have you tried to pick up a dev kit? And they're like, all right, we get it. There's no dev kit, which is a huge advantage.
Hmm.
So I think that while Cyberpunk being delayed is probably, and I don't have any inside information, but my guess is that it's because of COVID-19 and they can't get people in working on dev kits as much. And that same issue doesn't happen when you're talking about Stadia, because the dev kits are in the cloud, so people can easily work from home on whatever it is that they were working on. I
Yeah.
think that
There
is probably what the deal is. Go ahead, Lloyd.
there is a physical Stadia dev kit, a piece of hardware that Google will sell you that simulates some things, but it doesn't have to be. You can compile a game and then upload it to the cloud and then play it that way and test it that way. So yeah, it's a lot more flexible for people that are working on the games. If you don't need access to the physical dev kit to run any sort of crazy tracing or whatever you're doing, if you're looking at the GPU overhead or the memory threading or all the other crazy like deep dev stuff, you can probably make do with just using the dev kits. And like we heard from many developers, games that aren't even coming to Stadia are being worked on Stadia because they can get all the asset people, all the level designers and graphic people building the game while they're in the cloud on Stadia, because all that stuff exists there, which is just a pretty fantastic thing to hear.
Absolutely. All right. So we talked about the Cyberpunk delay. I think it'll still come out by the end of the year. Otherwise, I think that they would have said so. Although, if you go to their website, it's so dumb. It still says coming on November, whatever it was, 19th, which is, by the way, the first anniversary of Google Stadia, which is really weird. It still says coming November 19th, and then it lists all of the platforms underneath it. I just wish that CD Projekt Red would listen to people and say, just put it off to the side so that everybody knows what to expect. And that way people won't get as upset. And really, that website is what caused all of the consternation with that. Okay. I'm not going to click on this video because I don't want Lloyd to hear anything or see anything. But I know that he is excited about this next game. This next game being Baldur's Gate 3. The guy who is in charge, Sven Vinke, and I probably pronounced that wrong, he's working on Baldur's Gate 3, and he did a live stream over on the official Twitch D&D channel. And I watched the whole thing, and it is awesome. It is so, so good, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for this game to come out in August, maybe. If you are interested, even a little bit, in this kind of game, and you don't mind what I would say are minor spoilers, maybe minor to medium spoilers, then I would say go watch this video because it looks so damn cool. He's playing on mouse keyboard. I was really hoping that he would play with a controller so I could see how the game plays with a controller, but he's playing with mouse keyboard, and as he is, like, the party can split completely. So like he split his party and went into he went inside this place with his party, and he went off to someplace else with the other half of the party, and he's going back and forth between those members of the party who are not in the same location anymore, and it's instantaneously. Like, he clicks on the portrait and it switches to that other person who's in a different place. It is insane how cool it is. The combat looks crazy, absolutely crazy. Like, the stuff that he's doing with the combat, like he handed a character a pair of shoes that would make it. If I could be remembering this wrong, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. There was a previous video where he actually took a pair of shoes and threw it at an enemy and killed them.
I remember that.
It's like this game is going to be the game this year, in my opinion, and that's the same year that is coming with Cyberpunk. If you put a gun to my head and said, Bill, you have to pick Baldur's Gate 3 or Cyberpunk, which one are you going to play? I am going to play Baldur's Gate. This is the game that I have been most anticipating since it was announced, and I'm looking more forward to Baldur's Gate 3, I think, than the sequel to my favorite game of all time, and that is Breath of the Wild 2, because the stuff that I have seen with Baldur's Gate 3 is so exciting and so amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. So, Lloyd, gun to your head. You have to make a decision. Sophie's choice here. You only get to play one, Baldur's Gate 3 or Cyberpunk 2077. Which one? And let us know your comment, your thoughts in the comment section down below. All right, go ahead, Lloyd. What are you going to do?
It's really tough. I love Baldur's Gate. I love D&D. I love the world of D&D. I also really love Cyberpunk. I love the art style. I love the Android stuff. I love everything. If I have to choose one, I'm going to choose neither and forget that that both of them don't exist, because I don't want to have to choose my favorite baby. Just joking. I'm going to choose Cyberpunk. I'm going to choose Cyberpunk.
Oh, really?
Because I want to jump in. I want to play that game. I've been hyped for it since it was first teased like 5 years ago or whatever. So I definitely want to jump in and play that game. But it's like 99.5 and 100% on my little mental poll that I just did.
Well, luckily you don't have to make that decision. We'll all be playing Baldur's Gate in August and Cyberpunk 2077 sometime in the year 2077. Let's move on. Wave Break has an official Stadia interview, but that's not really what I want to talk about, because the interview feels like a puff piece. It's just like
watch our interview.
Yeah, watch our interview instead. I don't think that this is a bad interview, but it's an official interview. They know the questions ahead of time, so they have time to prepare, and it's just like there was no new information gleaned from this. But we have a release date, June 23rd. I know that you are very excited to play this game, Lloyd.
I am.
What about this game makes you so excited? I think I know the answer from watching your other streams.
Well, I'm a big Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 fan. That was my game back when that was a new game. I played it all the time. All Tony Hawk Pro Skater games back in the day. Like, I loved each and every one. Played them so much, and seeing a game that has pretty much the exact same mechanics, like you're doing tricks on a boat while you're surfing or boating or sliding or whatever, depending on where you are in the world, made me really happy. And then they take like this vaporwave aesthetic and put it over top of the game, so it looks like all of my streams that I've been doing for like the last 5 years with the vaporwave kind of style, with really amazing vaporwave music and just an attitude. And I really want to play this game, I'll say. I'm very excited for it, and I might have thoughts early on next week to talk about this game. So I'm really excited for it.
So did it surprise you when we found out that the game was rated M? Because just from what I had seen, I was like, oh, okay, this seems like a T for teen game. I know that there was blood in it from the previews that we've seen, but did it surprise you that it was rated M?
I'm quite surprised from what I've seen previous to finding out it was rated M. Since seeing some things after that, there's some language and things like that. Plus, you're firing guns, but that's usually not enough to get an M. So maybe there's something there that is egregious. I know you can boat around without underwear on, or without a swimsuit on, and they put a nice little like a little sensor bar over your
I haven't seen that.
Your bare butt, I guess, because you're a bear. The one character that I saw doing that was a bear. So maybe that's it. But yeah, I don't know. And maybe it's the online interactions as well, since it's a multiplayer deathmatch game. Maybe there's something there that the ESRB said, no, this is an rated M game.
It's funny because when I saw that it was rated M, I sent a message to one of the devs, And I said, I'm kind of floored that it's rated M. And they go, yeah, the campaign gets pretty crazy. And I was like, oh, okay. I can't wait. I'm very excited to play this game when it comes to Stadia on June 23rd. And I'm sure that we will have some content up for you as soon as we can. Make sure that you subscribe so that you see that. We also have another release date announcement, and that is July 1st, and that is Creta, which everybody was anticipating that this game was coming out on July 1st because it's a Stadia Pro game, and it was recently rated by the ESRB, so it made perfect sense that you would see that this game is coming out on July 1st. You're a programmer, Lloyd. Are you going to be trying to win that $5,000?
No, I work for a living, so I don't have enough time that would be required to actually win some money. But what I am planning on taking part of is a bunch of Stadia content creators are doing something called Create a 48-hour build challenge, where they want to build a game with 10 different levels in 48 hours. It's done, I think, started by Andy Morphs, but then there's a bunch of other like Stadia Talk and Stadia Rocks and One to Escape, and I'm blanking on all the other names, Stadia Source and MM2K, Tommy Danger. A bunch of Stadia content creators are going to be involved in this. So I'm chatting with Andy right now to get involved in that, to see if I can jump in. I'm really excited. The fact that you can get in and build a game without knowing any code is great. But then also giving extra functionality to people that know Lua or want to learn how to do Lua scripting to add other functionality that isn't already there is going to be huge. Like seeing some of the games that they were demoing on the launch stream, they showed off a game where you have to huddle together for warmth that was created by I think two indie devs. They worked together to create this game in not a lot of time. There was this really cool game they threw together where just randomly doors will open on these 4 huts, and the last person in dies, and then it's kind of like musical chairs, but you're going in buildings. There's Capture the Flag that I saw. There's like so many different game modes that are available at launch, and there's starter packs for all these things. So if you want to make a Capture the Flag game, you download the starter pack and then you base your game on that starter pack. It's going to be huge. I think there's going to be a lot of really awesome content that is going to be available shortly after launch, and it's only going to get bigger. Just like Redstone creations on Minecraft, they started pretty rudimentary, and now you have people that can build a whole house by flicking one button based on all the different stuff that they have going. I think Create is going to be the same way. The developers have also said that they're thinking of adding in, or not thinking of, they're planning to add in a bunch of other functionality, ability to spawn NPCs and other things to fill up your game worlds. So I think this is going to be the start of a really fun franchise, and it almost seems like it's owned by Google. It's not, but it's totally Google focused. So who knows if this is going to roll into like Google Classrooms, and you're going to have kids that are going to learn how to do coding based in Creta and stuff like that. It's to me, there's so many reasons why this is super attractive and exciting. So I can't wait to jump in on July 1st.
You know, my son and his friends, they will regularly, that's a hard word to say, they will make levels for each other in creative in Fortnite. And so like they'll do all of these crazy parkour challenges where you got to make it from one thing to another in a certain amount of time, and they absolutely love doing that stuff, and this takes that to the next level. Like he's constantly working on making levels, and then his friends come in and they all try and navigate it, and you know, they give each other feedback, and then they go over to somebody else's and they here's the one that I made. It's really, really cool. And to have one where you can actually get in to the Lua and start really changing things is very, very interesting. I think that Creta did a great job with the what's the word I'm looking for? The art direction. Uh,
Sure.
and I know that there's going to be people who look at this and they say, well, it's a Fortnite ripoff. Great, because that, like, this art style is going to be very, very attractive to a
Sure.
lot of people who are into Fortnite. And it's very, you might not like the game Fortnite. I'm not talking to Lloyd, I'm talking to just people who are listening. You might not like the game Fortnite, but I think personally that it has a really good art style, and that is going to attract people not just to this game, but also to the platform as a whole, because now anybody can try Creta. You don't have
Yep.
to buy anything. You can just start playing the game and working with your friends. And right now, when you're making a game like this, for the most part, you're working on it on your own. This is
Yep.
centered around working with other people. So here's what it says in the interview. And by the way, this interview has some good information in it. Some not I don't know if it's new information, but it's interesting as far as what I read through. But we also interviewed the people from one of the devs. I think it was
Yeah, we had
Hannah.
we had Hannah. Yeah, we had Hannah on
Yeah.
for an interview.
So we talked to her, and make sure that you check out that interview on our YouTube channel. But they were asked what makes Creta unique within the creation genre, and the interviewee said the end-to-end social collaboration is probably the biggest difference. Not only did we want the process of making games to be a form of play, but we also wanted that to be multiplayer. A whole group of people can be making a game simultaneously, each at their own pace and their own level. Take our multiplayer code editor, for example, which allows multiple people to write and edit code simultaneously, seeing changes to their game in real time. So I can walk around and build like a level, and then Lloyd can do all of the coding stuff that I don't understand because I'm not a coder. I know like a tiny little bit of Python. Like we can still make, like I can still be involved in that process. And then the next question that I thought had an interesting answer is this is also going to be the first game that unveils state share, which we talked about that before. But the question is, tell us more about the state share beta. What does this unlock for players in your words? Discovery can be a big issue when it comes to sharing games. So State Share Beta's ability to create and share a link that teleports players instantly into your creation is hugely powerful. It also gives YouTube creators and streamers the ability to involve their community in games too. I'm really excited for this. Are you going to be doing streams like that where you're working on building a game with our audience, or is that too much like work for you because you're a coder?
I don't. Well, I'm not a daily coder. I do some coding when I need to get stuff working. I'm not super familiar with Lua scripting. I've done a little bit of Lua scripting, so I'm going to be looking at a lot of documentation as I make my way through it. The good thing is you can jump in and make a game without any scripting at all, and then if you want to tweak something, like you want to have when someone picks up like a power up, I want all the colors on the screen to shift. You then can jump into the code editor, copy over that class, and then add a few lines of code to make that happen, or change the sound effects or do something. So you don't have to code all the stuff. You can just add little tidbits to the game with the code editor, which is fantastic. The multiplayer code editor, they showed it off in one of their streams. They had 8 people building a world, and then they had 2 people jump into the code editor, and one guy's typing, and then above it there's a comment put in that says, "Hey, hello world, we're on YouTube TV, I'm also editing code." And it was just like, yeah, you can have multiple people editing, almost like Google Docs, where you're all editing the same thing at the same time. It's going to be good, and I think this is going to be a really good learning experience for a lot of people that are maybe not into coding. There's so many websites that are like, learn JavaScript in 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever the website is trying to sell, and they take you through all these tutorials and all the things like build a button, have the button disappear when someone clicks it, do all this other stuff. I could see Creta themselves or other people putting up a series of tutorials on how to build a capture the flag game in Creta from step one and without using any of the templates. Here's a class for the flag object, and you want to have it over here, and you want to add this detail and these functions to it, and then you want to add this other class and this other thing, and then this is your game loop, and this is how you program the game loop. It's going to be huge. Like I said, to me, the most exciting thing is for kids. If you're already in Google Classrooms all the time, if they add Creta to Google Classrooms and have like math or science or computer teachers be able to just give this to their students to jump in as part of Google Classroom, that's going to be huge. They're going to teach people how to do physics and how to do this and how to do that. I'm super excited seeing all the stuff that Minecraft Classroom does. I think Creta could do even bigger and better things and maybe more engaging things to for the students that are going to be involved in it. So this whole project is super exciting. We'll see what happens. I'm probably going to be more a game player than a game builder, but there's a couple game ideas that I want to noodle around with, and I'll probably do some streams while I'm noodling.
There you go. All right, we are going very long, so I'm going to take the rest of the stuff in the show notes, and we're going to lightning round that stuff real fast so that we have time to get to all of the super chats that have come in throughout the show. So just to let everybody know, there was an interview on IGN did an interview with it was from somebody from Google, somebody who works on Orcs Must Die 3, and somebody from Ubisoft. So that is in the show notes over at runjumpstomp.com. Make sure you check it out. It's about 17 minutes long. I don't feel like there was any new information in it, but it was interesting to say the least. And the guy who works at Stadia had an incredibly cool room that he was in, very similar to Lloyd and I's room. You could tell he had gaming cred. They updated the UI for non-pro members to make it easier for them to understand the deals that they're missing out on. This is something that I have been harping on Stadia to do for a long time now. Well, it looks like they're finally listening. So now if you're a non-pro member, and I have 2 accounts, so I was able to go in as my non-pro member and see this. You can see that for pro, it's 50% off for this game. So I think that's awesome. Really, really great, and that's going to help drive people towards pro. And as you can see, I took this screenshot at 5:23 this morning because I could not sleep. All right.
This is something we talked about. I know this is a lightning round and we want to be fast, but This is something we talked about, saying Stadia needs to do this or Google needs to do that. I'm sure this is already in their roadmap, but it's good to see that they're adding things that the community is talking about. They're super accepting and responsive to what the community wants. It's been pretty amazing seeing Google interact with the community.
Absolutely. I think that we know that they're listening to the community, and that's a really great thing, because like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they are not listening to the community. They are just doing their own thing because they have been in this business for a long time. So I think it's awesome that Google is like, you know what, we're newbies at this, let's listen to what people are saying. They might not always do what we want them to, but it doesn't mean they're not listening. So I like that they're making changes. Get Packed has patch notes out. I'm not going to read them to you. The biggest thing here is that it now runs at 4K 60, which I think is good. I didn't really notice that it looked bad before, or that the frame rate was bad before, but I'm always bad at noticing that stuff anyway. All right, let's get to the super chats. We've got a whole bunch of them. Did you have anything to add before we get to those?
Nope.
All right. So Sam Duledge and Jay Chussell both became members during the episode. Thank you very much for that. Matthew Ashcroft says, "Happy Father's Day. My son and I watch you guys every week. Thank you for being such a positive and level-headed voice in the community." Well, Matthew, thank you very much, and hello to Matthew's son. We appreciate the support.
Happy Father's Day, Matthew, and hello to Matthew's family as well.
That's right. Patrice Derry said, what are your predictions on the Stadia Connect? We already did that one. Vinicus became a member. And then Anthony Talcott said, I would love it if Stadia kept track of the devices I play on, so I can then tell Stadia what resolution to keep each device at. They made that change last week.
They did.
So
Yep.
now that does happen. However, there is
Except on
one
PC.
thing, huh?
Except on PC, right?
I have no idea because I never play on PC.
I don't believe you can set individual settings on PC. It uses what you have the app set to, at least on my version of Chrome. Maybe that is something that is in a newer version that hasn't rolled out to me yet.
Maybe. I will say this. This is a helpful hint for anybody. When they put out that change, I believe that they set everybody to 1080p. And so
Yes,
you need to
they
go in and set it back to 4K if you want to use 4K. Why they did that, I'm not sure. Maybe it was to save bandwidth. Who knows? One thing, Anthony Talcott then went on to say, one good thing about ESO don't have to worry about. I'm not sure what he means. Do you understand what he means by that?
One good thing about ESO don't have to worry about. He might have had lost there's a number of characters you can use in a comment. Maybe he ran out of characters.
Okay. Ray Sherrod sent in a super chat, said ESO, ESO, ESO. Hey, I'm with you. Lloyd's with you. We are big fans of the game. And then Jay Chussel 22 sent in a super chat. They said, why doesn't Google just buy Crata to build IP? I don't think that that's really necessary since it's already coming. Like, why spend money on it? Because it's already coming to Google Stadia. So,
and
it's
exclusive. It's getting some marketing time with Google, so there's probably some relationship there that we don't know about. We know from interviewing Hannah and talking about some of their older videos, they had all of the functionality for Crata was running on their website. They had a bunch of servers, the code editor, all that stuff was running in a web page. They were able to take all that stuff and push it to Google Cloud, which costs them less money to run because it's living in the cloud. I think for them, it's probably a cost benefit analysis. It's like, do we want to do this on ourselves and have it on PC and PS4 and Xbox and Stadia, or do we want to partner with a platform holder? And it looks to me, we don't have any behind the scenes news or any sort of hints to that. But to me, it looks like they partnered with Stadia. So there probably is some relationship there. So I don't think Google has to buy Crata. I think there's some relationship, something happening there already. And it'll be interesting to see if Crata rolls out to things like Google Classrooms and other ways to integrate more deeply with the Google tool set.
I would like Crata to make an education edition that, took out all of the guns and stuff, because I know that there are, as somebody who works in education, I know that there are many people who instantaneously will dismiss a video game, and that number goes up tenfold if the video game has guns in it. And so bringing that into a classroom is problematic at best. If Google did a Crata thing where it was Crata for education, where they took that kind of thing out, they could really do a service to kids by helping them learn to code in a really, really fun way. I mean, look, I know a little bit about how to program. I think it's super fun. I don't have time to really get into it. Oh my goodness. So my wife is burning my hand right now. She just brought me another mug.
Oh my God.
And it's the Ruby from Corner Gas.
Did you not know these mugs existed until they came into your room?
I did not know that these mugs existed until they came into my room. Thank you, honey.
That's fantastic. Your wife is great.
My wife is great. The Ruby is the restaurant in that show that we talked about earlier in the show.
And it's more to your thing. Take the guns out of the game. That would be a really good way to encourage kids to code, because they could, since Crata, you can code anything. They could say, I want to code something that fires a banana, and so I have a banana gun, or I just have my hand which fires out bananas. So it's not an actual gun, but they could write the code to emulate some sort of weapon in the game as well, and that would probably get a lot of creative juices flowing if that isn't in the game right at launch.
I think that we need to either A, have the title of this episode be Banana Gun Hand, or B, it should be
a T-shirt, banana gun.
What?
We need a T-shirt that says "banana gun" with a banana.
Banana
being held
gun
in a
hand.
Banana gun hand. Okay.
Right. And then the other one is meat bouquet.
Meat bouquet. Yeah. A brocade is what they call it.
The brocade. All right. Well, anyway, thank you all for the support in sending in the super chats and the questions and stuff. Of course, you guys are fantastic. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can follow us at Stadiacast. You can follow me at Run Jump Stomp. You can follow Lloyd at Dasme. That's DASME. Be sure to use that hashtag Stadiacast so we can find your tweets. Before we did the show, I went and found tweets that I was going to include, but I didn't get a chance to include them because we had so much support in the in the super chats. But if you want to know what people were tweeting about, you can just look up that hashtag, or you can go to runjumpstomp.com and look at the show notes for today's episode to see all of that stuff. Join our Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. There's over 1,300 people in that Discord. Get in there and have a conversation with somebody awesome right now. And if you're already joining Discords, Lloyd has his community Discord for rezd.tv. That's REZD.tv. I'm spelling it like a Canadian while I drink out of my Canadian tea mug. Rezd.tv/Discord. The music that you are about to hear is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. Check out their stuff at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. Lloyd, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Bill, and tell your wife she has great taste in mugs.
She does. And we're done recording. There we go.
Awesome. Hey, Bill, the scene that's up or was up on YouTube where it's the gray or the blue background below just the Stadiacast logo without the kind of square thing. Do you have just that Stadiacast logo in text as an image file you could send me?
I do, and I will send it to you ASAP.
Oh, thank you, sir. That's the one, because I want to build this scene, and I just have that like 10-second video that doesn't loop properly, so I just want to have it running like that.
Yeah, I ran into the not looping properly thing as well, and I was like, oh, that's because I cut it off before the actual thing when I made, because I made a video. Yeah, people who are watching are like, what are you talking about? Nobody cares. Yeah, I'll make sure that you get that. Oh, man. Thank you guys for being here and all of the support. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Just thank you.
Yeah. 100%. You guys, you folks make doing this a joy. So thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out with us on Sunday, on Father's Day. Go call your dad. Go call your in-laws, whatever you need to do, and enjoy your Father's Day. I'm going to be eating lots of food and playing ESO. I think that's my plans for today. So it's going to be good.
Oh, you and I have to run a dungeon later then, because I'll be playing some ESO as well.
Let's do that. I've never done a dungeon, so I'd love to jump into one.
I did one yesterday with Anthony Talcott and somebody else who I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. I just recognize Anthony's name. And just real quick, I want to say to the healer that we had in our group, you were a fantastic healer. I never want to group with you again. This is somebody who had clearly played the game a billion times.
Right.
And so, like, I'm the tank, and I like, as soon as we get into the dungeon, I said, new tank, by the way, which is a pain in the for me to type, because I'm typing it on my controller. Stadia, real quick, take a hint from Nintendo and give me a keyboard on my phone that will send a message in whatever game I'm in. That would be amazing.
That would be great.
But I was like, new tank, by the way. And then the healer decided to go, and they would run into this room and grab every single monster and then bring them back to us, right? And so like I'm trying to keep aggro of everything, and the healer was awesome. So we didn't die, right? But it was not fun because he just wanted to get it done. So I just wanted to complain about that. That guy was a jerk. He wasn't the Stadiacast person. He was the random person that added to our group because we had 2 damage dealers and myself, the tank.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't done a dungeon. I've done a bunch of delves and managed to kill all those bosses without too many problems. I've killed a couple world bosses just because I happen to be there when someone else is killing it, and it's like, okay, let's go plink them with a couple arrows and get credit for that kill. But I definitely want to do a dungeon to see what that experience is like.
Yeah, well, Kodiak Moonwolf will have to join you and I if it's not too late for him. Nice. So we'll set it up after the stream's over when we're gonna do that. Anyway,
sounds like a plan.
You guys have an awesome day. Lloyd, happy Father's Day, and I'll talk to you later, man.
That's right. Happy Father's Day, and take it easy, everybody.